Hey guys, it's heroineblink and welcome back to another video on my channel. So today I just really wanted to talk about a very important issue that's been going on recently with this whole Sparklyeon news, and I just feel like it's beyond K-pop and it's just something that I really have to talk about because a lot of K-pop idols are guilty of doing this too, and I just felt like I had to educate a lot of you guys because a lot of you guys are still, and I literally mean still, supporting this YouTuber after the offensive and racist stuff that she's done. And I just feel like a lot of you guys are just forgiving her simply because you guys do not understand history and understand why it's so bad and why blackface is such a very racist and offensive thing. And I feel like a lot of you guys are not educated, and I just wanted to come on here and tell you guys what I know about blackface, what I know about the whole Sparklyon situation, and basically my opinion on it. So a quick disclaimer, please don't think that I'm trying to be like this huge racial activist or I'm trying to be this like big protester or be this big person. I'm not. I'm simply trying to give my opinion as a black person and as a black YouTuber. So basically I'm just trying to voice my opinion and educate a lot of you guys on blackface and why it's so bad, because I feel like a lot of you guys aren't educated and aren't taught about this stuff in schools, and not just that, you guys are overall just not educated about it. So I just really wanted to come on here and tell my opinion about this whole issue and educate you guys on blackface. So that's all. And also, no offense to anybody else or any other race, but please, I'm begging you, if you are not black, shh, I don't want to hear anybody else in my comments saying that I'm being rude or disrespectful or that I shouldn't be offended. Like, no, I'm black. I have a right. It's my place to sit here and give my opinion about how I feel about my own race. If you are not black, please don't give your opinion on it. I just really do not want to hear anybody in my comments bashing me or bashing my friends for supporting and standing up for our race, because it's really going to make me upset. And I just really want to educate some of y'all because y'all need it. And some of y'all K-pop idols need it too. So let's just get started. So let's talk about what is blackface. Basically, the definition and portrayal of blackface is when somebody would darken their skin or paint their skin to basically look black. Back then, around the whole like Civil War time, basically they would use shoe polish, grease paint, or even burnt cork just to look black, and they would paint on enlarged lips and other overly exaggerated features about black people, and this has happened for like centuries. So basically, blackface began in the US after the whole Civil War thing, where white performers, quote unquote performers, played characters that basically dehumanized and portrayed black people in a dark light. Basically, they would act like black people and just do it in a weird way that was so stereotypical and so like just disgusting and in such a rude manner, and honestly, it's just horrible. When performers basically performed in blackface, they played characters and black people that showed a range of negative stereotypes about black people, which basically included being lazy, ignorant, superstitious, very hypersexual, criminal, and basically cowardly. Not only was blackface in theaters, but it basically moved to the film industry. There was this big hit for white audiences that basically loved this movie. They all wanted to go and watch it. It was this hit movie back then called Birth of a Nation, and it openly literally showed blackface. There was this white man playing like a black guy, and he did blackface. There's this one scene that really kind of like irked me and made me upset. By the way, Birth of a Nation is actually on YouTube, so if anybody wants to actually do more research and look at the movie and watch the scene that I'm about to say, then yeah. So basically there was a scene where, like I said, they portrayed black men as rapists. So there was a scene where a white man doing blackface that portrayed a black man, he basically pretended that he was going to touch and rape this white girl. They were at the edge of a cliff, and this white girl literally jumped off a cliff just so she wouldn't be touched by a black man. And look, I get it, she was about to be raped and this and that, but at the same time, it's just the fact that they stereotyped a whole bunch of black men like that. And this woman literally jumped off a cliff just to not be touched by a black man. A black man. If it was a white man, I think stuff would have been way different. I don't really think she would have jumped off a cliff, but because it was a black man, honey, she dipped. She went right down that freaking cliff. And not only was this movie just showing blackface, but it basically revived the KKK, which is basically the Ku Klux Klan. And as y'all should know, the Ku Klux Klan, the KKK, they love to kill black people. So basically, this movie basically revived the KKK, and people in the movie, basically what they did in the movie, the KKK, they killed the black man that was trying to rape the girl, because basically back then they saw black people as criminal. So now all the white men that saw that movie, they thought that if they became like in the KKK and they started killing black men, they thought that they looked as heroes, because in the movie it showed that the KKK killed the black man because he was quote unquote criminal. So now that movie basically revived the KKK, and back then all this new KKK cult stuff started going on. And as you guys should know, in the KKK, black men and black women were killed and hanged by the KKK and even burned for no reason. So basically, because of this movie, a whole bunch of black people looked at the movie and they obviously saw that this movie was offensive. Of course, it was portraying a black man as a rapist and a criminal. So if they were offended back then and were protesting against this movie, what makes you think that nowadays, 2020, where more people are educated, what makes you think that we're not going to be still offended about it? Like, just because it happened in the past doesn't mean we still can't be offended about it. This movie not only just portrayed black men as, like, criminals and rapists, but it also showed to other little kids, other little white boys, other, grown adults, that if they go around and start killing black people, it's fine, because black men back then were criminals and they were rapists and all this stuff. And it just shows you that, blackface isn't a joke, and it really started in an era where black men were portrayed as criminal and bad people. So I just don't get why a lot of you guys think that forgiving another YouTuber who clearly laughed at blackface are just forgiving her because she went on live and cried. But that's a whole nother topic. Anyways. And not only at that time did they portray black men as rapists and criminals, it went on for decades and decades. I don't know if you guys know the story of Emmett Till, but I'm about to explain it. So like I said, back then, black men were seen as rapists, predators, rapists, and basically there was this 14-year-old boy. Literally, think about it. A 14-year-old boy, probably still in middle school, probably about to get into high school. Basically, this 14-year-old boy named Emmett Till was an African American from Chicago, and he was brutally murdered for allegedly flirting with a white woman 4 days earlier. So basically, what happened was, they said allegedly Emmett Till was shopping with his family members and he saw this white woman who worked there. When he saw this white woman, they said allegedly that he whistled and flirted and, did all this stuff to her and was basically flirting with her. So basically what this woman's husband and brother did is they basically kidnapped Emmett Till from his home and made him carry a 75-pound cotton gin fan and made him walk all the way somewhere. Then these two men basically beat him up nearly to death, gouged out his eye, and then shot him in the head. Then they threw his body in a river, tied up the cotton gin tan found with barbed wire, and then threw his body into the river. So I was doing my research or whatever, I was researching about this to know more about it. And basically, years later, after Emmett Till was gone and the whole protest was going on, basically they said that the woman lied to her husband about this 14-year-old boy whistling at her. So it just shows, like, do you guys not see how black men were portrayed back then? Not just black men, little boys, 14-year-old boys. It's not just blackface. It's just how offensive it is. And I just really wanted to tell you guys the story of Emmett Till, because that takes another huge part in blackface. Okay, so now that you kind of have an idea of blackface, we're going to talk about the whole Sparklyeon issue. So basically, I was in this group chat. Don't think that I'm just speaking from perspective or what I heard from other YouTubers. No, I was literally in that group chat. And basically, this day went down, basically when the whole Sorn issue went down. Mind you, CLC are one of my alt groups. So as you guys saw in the screenshots, which I will put in the video, as you guys saw in the screenshots, we were talking about the Sorn issue, and I was like, oh, you guys are talking about Sorn, because, I was sad about it. Like, I like Sorn, but what she did was literally so offensive, and then she said that everybody takes stuff way too seriously. So, I had to unstan her. I still stand CLC, but, I kind of had to unstan her and stop supporting her after what she did. So, I was kind of sad about it. They were talking about it in the group chat, and I said, oh, you guys are talking about Sorn. Then, all of a sudden, Miss Sparklyeon talks about blackface, a white girl, woman talking about blackface. So we're like, what is she talking about? Basically, she said that she used to watch this show that openly supported blackface. I forgot what it showed, but she literally sent us receipts of the show, and there was like white people literally dressing up as Rihanna. And as you guys know, Rihanna is a black woman. So it was like these other people that are not black dressing up as Rihanna, doing their hair, painting their skin darker to look like Rihanna, and they were singing and like, performing her songs. So we were like, child, honey, no. We were like, that's offensive. She's like, how is that offensive? She was like, oh, like, it's funny. I was just so caught, like, back. I was like, I know this girl did not just openly say that blackface is funny. Like, what is funny about some person portraying and acting like this black girl? We were like, whoa, 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 whoa. We were like, ma'am, don't say it's funny. We're like, it's not funny. Blackface is not funny. And all of a sudden she started going on and off or whatever about how blackface isn't that serious, or that people put everything as racism nowadays. And as you guys saw in the screenshot, everybody that was black in that group chat went off on her, as they should. I was trying my best because, as you guys know, I'm not a person that literally yells at people or gets upset. I was obviously upset, but I remember that day I went out shopping with my mom and my phone kept dying. So my phone died, and then I remember when I went back on my phone, I saw everybody in the group chat literally screaming at her and yelling like, oh my god, like, you're dumb, why would you say that, like this and that, and as they should. I don't want to see anybody saying that what we were doing or like if we were yelling at her was wrong, because it's offensive. As you guys saw what I talked about and what I said about blackface and why it's so offensive. They have every right to be offended. So me trying to be the person, I was like, maybe she's not educated. So as what I did was I literally went online, searched up articles, told her, hey, search this up if you don't understand about it. We told her, hey, search up. We gave her articles. We told her about it. We were like, hey, just don't say it again. She apologized. She was like, okay, whatever. Yeah, I'll stop, saying stuff that I don't know about or that I'm not educated about. So there you go. A lot of you guys are like, oh my god, like, you guys are not educating her. Like, making a whole video about her is not educating her. Solve it in private. We did. We literally did. As you guys saw in the screenshots, we were sending articles. We were literally and openly telling her that, hey, it's wrong. And she apologized for it. And then a few months later, she literally goes and pins a comment on her YouTube video that openly supported blackface. And it was basically, they were talking about, Dykes for Sunny, who is also black. They basically was like, oh, like, she overreacts and does this and that. And in the comment, it openly supported blackface. And I just feel like a lot of you guys are just saying that we're bullies or being rude or we're heartless because, Sparklyeon made this whole, like, thingy that's like, oh my god, like, yeah, I'm in the hospital. And don't think that I do not take suicide attempts or suicide seriously. I do. But a lot of you guys are kind of, basically accepting what she did because she was in the hospital. And now wait, look, like I said, I do not look at suicide as a joke, nor am I saying that what she was doing is a prank or she's pretending. I don't know her life. I'm not Miss Sparklyeon. I don't know where she even lives. Like, I cannot sit here and say that what she's doing is fake. But a lot of you guys are kind of basically accepting what she did just because she was in the hospital, and I am not for that. You can give your concerns and you can be like we all did. We're like, oh, if she's in the hospital, then we hope she's okay, but we're still offended, as we should. And a lot of you guys are actually openly on the internet literally commenting under Dykes for Sunme's like community tab and on Twitter are like, oh, like, you guys are ruthless, she's literally in the hospital, why would you guys re-upload that video, this and that. And I'm just like, honey. And a lot of you guys are bringing like mental health into the issue, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. Don't think that I'm out here not supporting mental health, or I think that mental health isn't important. It very much is important. It really is. But what I don't stand for is people using mental health as a way for people to forgive them for their actions. I'm not saying Sparklyeon is lying about being in the hospital or that she didn't do this and that. I'm not saying that. But a lot of you guys are out here thinking that just because she went to the hospital and she attempted that makes up for all the stuff that she's done, and it doesn't. I'm saying, Sparklyon, if you're here watching this video, or your cousin is watching this video, I really hope you're okay, and I hope like everything's well with your mental health and stuff like that. But just because you went to the hospital doesn't mean that I'm gonna be friends with you again, or that I'm gonna support your channel, or that I'm gonna be, supporting you and all this. It doesn't mean anything. I just really want you guys to take into consideration how it feels to be black. Of course, a lot of you guys that are not black will never understand how it feels, but y'all just have to understand that being black is literally not easy. Like, I literally had to, just for one video to help educate some of you guys, I had to do research and read all these like damaging, articles with pictures of blackface and people. It's just not easy. It doesn't feel good. You think reading these articles about people of my own race being killed is happy for me? It's really not. Imagine how it feels to be black and going into history classes, and almost every history class you hear, almost every class I go into history, I'm always hearing, oh, like, black people were slaves, or this has happened. This is, like, how do you think it feels? It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel great. I've literally had to sit in class and watch documentaries and visually see, black people being hanged from trees and shot and being arrested. It just doesn't feel good, and it still happens to this day. It wasn't just back then. We still got black people being shot in the streets. We still got black people being, fired from their jobs for wearing a hairstyle and owning, their ethnicities and their race. And y'all just don't understand how it feels. It also feels bad as a K-pop stan. Imagine how it feels almost every time seeing one of your favorite K-pop idols or your favorite group, doing cultural appropriation. It doesn't feel good. And I'm not saying me and Sparklyeon were like besties or best friends. We were not. But, I've been in group chats with her, and I've like spoken to her, and we've agreed on certain things. And I'm just saying, like, imagine how it feels, how you just see somebody who, has such a huge platform on YouTube and so much people watch her, and then seeing her, support blackface. And I'm not trying to bring race into everything, but I just really want you guys to look at some of the most popular K-pop YouTubers on YouTube, and I just want you guys to notice, like, tell me, what are their races? Because I'm sure half of them, literally most of them, are white. And again, I have no issue with that. I'm actually friends with most of, these YouTubers, but you just kind of notice after a while, like, most of these YouTubers with over like 20,000 subscribers, they make videos about speaking about racism in K-pop and cultural appropriation. It's just like, what? And I'm not saying that people who are not black or not a person of color cannot speak about racism, because you can if you're educated enough. But I don't know, it's just kind of weird to me whenever I see people who are black speaking about, racism, and are posting videos like the same ones that they're doing, and they're black and they actually know how it feels to, experience racism. Their videos don't get half as much views as them. And for example, my video on the struggles of being a black K-pop stan. And I'm not saying this in a way like I'm jealous of these YouTubers and I want as much views as them. Like, of course, everybody wants as much views as that. But, like, still, I'm not saying that in a way like, oh my God, like, I deserve it and they don't because I'm black. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying, I made a video, me being a person of color and, talking about racism and K-pop and cultural appropriation. But, my video didn't get as much views as them, as, a person that doesn't really experience a lot of racism. And it just seems weird to me, because I know a lot of black YouTubers who I'm actually friends with who deserve a whole bunch of views, like Velvet Joy, Dags for Sunmi, SOS Dubu, Baddest Female. What else YouTubers? There's just a whole bunch of other YouTube black content creators that I just really want, to get as much views as they do whenever they speak about serious issues with racism. And it just doesn't make any sense to me. And my friend Dex for Sunmi is the one that uploaded the video about, Sparklyeon. And it just really shows me where a lot of you guys' judgment lies. Because my friend who is black and, stood up for her race and, called someone out on their wrongdoing, she's getting more hate than Sparklyeon is getting. And I'm not saying any of them deserve hate, like, no. But, usually when you, talk about blackface or support something that's racist, you usually get hate. And I'm not seeing Sparklyeon getting as much hate as Dykes for Sunmi. My friend literally is getting, hate comments on her community page. her videos are getting more dislikes, and I'm seeing Sparklyeon, posting a video this week and coming on like, hey guys, and it just doesn't make any sense to me, and it just shows me where a lot of you guys' judgment lies. And this is exactly why a whole bunch of YouTubers say that whenever people speak about cultural appropriation, you guys do not care. You guys don't care about cultural appropriation. You guys don't care about blackface. I just feel like a lot of you guys just don't care at all. The only racism y'all care about is if there's racism against your idols. And that's why videos that Sparklyon makes about racism in K-pop get more views than another black creator making videos about them experiencing racism. And it just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't add up. I just feel like you guys are just really just don't care. Anyways, that was it for this video. If you're watching this, thank you for listening to my rant and my side of the story and, my opinions. If you hate this video, that's your opinion. Honestly, if you hate this video, I'm just going to say it out there. I think you support blackface and you like supporting people who support racism. That's my opinion. No offense. But I just really want you guys to take into consideration on how it feels to be black, why blackface is so offensive, and why we don't support Sparklyon's actions. So that's it for this video. I'm sorry I've been MIA, kind of gone, not my fault. But anyways, thank you so much for supporting my channel, and to all the people who have supported me and told me that they really appreciate me educating you guys. It means a lot, and this is why I do YouTube. So thank you so much for all the support, and, to all the YouTubers that I mentioned, let me put some black content creators that I love at the end of this video, because period.